Another exciting thing to look at is future users of big data, and that will also affect what happens out there. And this is also a place where I think there's a lot of change. The first big data systems were really targeted at programmers. They were developed at places like Google, where the vast, the kind of majority of employees who would use these are software engineers. They have a degree in computer science probably, and they're sitting there programming. And this is for, if you're a Java programmer or a C++ programmer, you can now write stuff on a bunch of machines. But increasingly, big data is used by non-programmers, either in scripting languages, by people like statisticians or scientists whose primary education isn't in programming, or even in visual tools. And as an example of like a really dramatic kind of effect of that, I have a little graph here with the usage of various languages in Apache Spark. So when Spark started out, it only supported Scala, which is a language basically for software engineers. And even after we added a Python in our interfaces, for example, the vast majority of usage was in Scala and Java. And then in the past few years, we've slowly seen the other scripting languages creep up and kind of overtake some of the languages used by developers. So when we did this survey last year, Python jumped from, I think it was 30% the year before to close to 60% now. And R, which is a language that we only added, I think, 1.5 years ago, also jumped to close to 20%. At Databricks, where we host this cloud-based Spark platform, Python is actually even more popular than Scala among sort of our users. So it's very interesting to see this because they're a different type of user, and they expect and kind of require different interfaces to work with this. So something that worked for Java programmers is unlikely to work for these ones. So the result of that is that there's a big need for easier interfaces to big data, ideally ones that look like the single machine tools that users are familiar with, which definitely don't look like MapReduce or like the original Spark API. And there's a lot of really cool activity happening here, including a lot of research in the AMP lab and at Berkeley. So some examples are Spark data frames that use a popular kind of data science API, the IPython notebook, the Caffe machine learning library for hooking together learning pipelines, and visual interfaces like Tableau. And I think there's still a lot to be done to really connect these with the big data systems and make them work well. Tell users what's really happening and how can they improve their applications.